Hello everyone, Namaskar. Let's talk about this very important concept, that is key account management. The word account may confuse you that it has to do something with accounting, something with mathematics. Of course, mathematics is involved, but the mathematics of marketing, the mathematics of consumer and customers, right? So the word key account means your key customers who are giving you maximum revenues, and how to manage these customers, that is what is about key account management. So once again, for the sake of clarity, I must be repeating myself that key account means those accounts who are giving you maximum revenue, right? They are big accounts who are giving you maximum revenue. Maybe you can also say that 20% of your customers are contributing to 80% of your revenue, and these 20% of your customers are your key clients or a key customer. So the relationship that you will build with these 20% customers, or the partnership that you are going to build with these customers, it's going to be sustainable. This happens basically in B2B scenario. So if you recollect our B2B discussion, we have been talking about that customer service is a key in B2B relationship, and finally I concluded that customer service will give rise to this particular topic of key account management, because these key accounts, these key clients who are giving you maximum revenue, roughly 80% of your revenue, you need to have a long term and sustainable business partnership with them, right? So a key accounts, once again for the sake of clarity and understanding, are those few or small number of customers which gives large amount of revenue and profit for the company. Now when I say 20% of your customers generally generate 80% of the revenue, this is also the Pareto principle. This is applicable in life as well. Most of the time, even in classroom, you all say, ma'am, only few of us have worked and the others are going to have the cake of it, right? In a group assignment, you say only 2 of us have worked and rest 3 of them were sitting ideally. That is the case even in a company per se, when it is a B2B selling, business to business, that few clients generally give you maximum business, and they go by this Pareto principle that 20% of your clients give you almost 80% of the revenue. So this is basically key accounts management, is how do you manage this supplier buyer relationship, how do you manage this B2B relationship, the supplier and the buyer, right? For example, the few examples of key account, right? For example, Ericsson is there to provide networks for these telecom companies that are functioning in India. Suppose we take Indian example, there is Ericsson, which is supplying network facilities, Nokia is there, Huawei is there, Alcatel is there are a lot of them. So for Ericsson, the key client was Airtel, and it is Airtel right now also, right? So Airtel is one client which is giving maximum revenue to Ericsson, right? Again, IRCTC is a vendor for Indian Railways, right? So Indian Railways is giving maximum revenue to IRCTC, rather it is dedicated service for IRCTC, right? And the food items which you get when you travel via Shatabdi or a high class trains, the food which you get, the suppliers and vendor are few. So the Indian Railways becomes a key account for them, right? There is Federal Mogul in Bangalore, which all of you are familiar with, right? Now Federal Mogul is a key account, the key account for Federal Mogul is Indian Railways again, because they are giving hydraulic engines to the Indian Railways, right? So Indian Railway is the buyer and Federal Mogul is the supplier, So key accounts is that account which is giving you maximum revenue, and the kind of treatment that you do with them is entirely different. The way you do with your probably your wife, the way you please them, or your girlfriends and boyfriends, right? So this diagram, if you see, this explains the concept very clearly. Key account, how we categorize. We categorize the top 20% in volume or revenue generation first. So these top 20% are your key accounts, the next 30%, right? And lastly, the next 50%. So why this categorization is important? Because, acquiring a customer is a costly affair in a B2B situation. It doesn't happen that you go in a market and you say, bhaiya gobi de dijiye and aap leke chale aaye. There's a long procedure which goes in, and if it's a government organization, it's even longer, right? It takes 6 months, 1 year, maybe 5 years, if you see a typical sarkari scenario. So there is a tendering system, there are a lot of parties who will come, they will give demo, they will give presentation, then there are objections handling, there are multiple rounds of talks which happens between a supplier and a buyer, then there is a negotiation table for price, and finally it gets approved by various authorities, and then the deal is closed. So it's not a one-step process. You must have studied the sales process, the 8-step process. It goes through series of rounds, right? So acquiring a customer is a costly affair in a B2B scenario as compared to retaining a customer, right? So if you are spending almost 30% of a given money on acquiring a customer, you spend almost 5 to 10% in retaining them, right? So why you need this categorization? Because you need to categorize your retention strategy. You will spend more money to retain customers who are giving almost 80% of the revenue. So the top 20%, more money will go in retention, the next 30% a little less money, and for the last 50%, very little efforts are being done. Even if they are going once or twice, you try to negotiate, otherwise you say a bye-bye or a tata. Right. So, for example, you see Biotech. Biotech is a great supplier for many, top class Indian hotels which are functioning, right? So, for them, a Taj group of hotels is a major client. So, if a Taj is saying bye-bye to a Biotech, they will do all sorts of possible things. They will even do somersaults to retain them. So retention is a costly affair, but acquisition is more costlier, right? So that's why you need this categorization, because you know whom to retain, how much money has to be spent for retaining the customers, right? There are various retention strategies, at managerial level, at the top level, you go and meet CEOs, you greet them, you treat them specially. There is gift exchange which happens, on all festivals and everything. There is regular follow-up which happens for these key clients, and that is something which is imperative. Now, if you see this particular diagram, there are basically, 4 stages which are, important as far as key account is concerned. These are 4, categorization of key account, which starts from basic and goes to the last level, that is the orange part of it, right? So the basic CAM, cooperative CAM, interdependent CAM, and finally the partnership comes where both the parties becomes one. Now if you see here on the left side, the kind of degree of collaboration is low, so there is a transactional relationship, right? And if you see on the top of it, the degree of collaboration is extremely high. So it's a collaborative CAM which happens at the top level, right? And needs for both parties is being explained on the right side. So what is a basic CAM? Basic CAM is just a transactional relationship between a supplier and a buyer, right? So it's just that you have chosen a buyer for the first time, and they have chosen you as a supplier, and you are giving them all operational and basic facilities, and you are buying from them, right? For example, we are a new university. Now if we have bought HP laptops for the first time, so the first few 1 or 2 years was a basic CAM. We were basic CAM for HP, because the clients, there were few laptops, maybe 200 or 300 which were bought, and we just needed some operational help from their side. So that was a strategy of basic CAM, right? As it happens, when you go and see a girl for the first time for your marriage, marriage. That is something which is a basic CAM. Both the parties are going to meet each other, all your relatives, your uncle, aunts, mom, dad, brother, sister, bua, fufa, everybody from both sides go and see, the girl and the boy see each other with the with the family members. Similarly, a basic CAM is like that, right? Vendors people, marketing people, HR people, some operational people, some finance people will go, and from buyer side also few people will come. They'll sit on the table, they'll close the deal, and that you will give me certain amount of laptops or something like that. Next stage is cooperative CAM, right? Cooperative CAM is also where both the parties work together. For example, you have reached to a stage where you have after seeing the boy and girl, you turn into an engagement scenario. So both the families become almost, they start seeing each other as their family, so the risk is reduced. The supplier becomes more tension free, as there is a kind of buyer for him, where the supplier is supplying to the buyer regularly. So it's a kind of one step above to the basic CAM. So a buyer from 3 to 5 years. You have been working together, you are forecasting the need of the buyer, accordingly you are suggesting him that this will be your sales in the next quarter, so I'll be supplying you this much. It's kind of cooperative CAM. This happens with many tired suppliers to these automobile companies. It starts from basic level, then reach to a cooperative level, right? The third is interdependent CAM, right? Interdependent key account management, right? It's a kind of marriage which always almost happens, right? So there's a confidence in relationship, it's stable and evaluated by both sides. So both of them know each other, they are interdependent on each other, right? Both the business are interdependent. For example, when Tata Nano had to be manufactured in India, and something like people started thinking about a people's car, or the smallest car which is possible in India, affordable by the middle class in 1 lakh rupee, Tata cannot think it alone without some supplier support. To produce or manufacture a cheap quality car, he needs those cheap quality supplies from vendors, automobile vendors, right? Suppliers. And by the way, automobile is a highly supplier dependent industry. Now they build up a plant in Singur in West Bengal, and there was a lot of agitation at that time, if you all remember, and they had to move the plant to Gujarat. That's why it delayed the final outcome of the Tata Nano car. Now only Tata Nano plant didn't shift, the supplier base also shifted. So they were so interdependent. The business of Tata Nano was dependent on the supplier, and the supplier business was also dependent on Tata Nano, because they were manufacturing car parts exclusively to be put in Tata Nano car, right? So that is interdependent CAM, which is a marriage. First was you are going to see a girl, second is you are into engagement, third is a marriage, and final is the collaborative CAM, right? It's a partnership. You become one. So it's post marriage, the honeymoon period is like a collaborative CAM, and you realize each other's potential, and you are there in the business with each other. For example, Delphi is a part supplier for Toyota. For example, Intel is a supplier for so many laptops and the entire PC industry, if you can so can they survive without Intel? They can't, right? Intel is one name which you will see on all the laptops and all the desktops almost, except there are few others like AMD and others, but most of them you will find Intel is the supplier, right? Is the processor there, Intel inside, they kind of advertise themselves like that, right? So that is what is collaborative CAM. Both of them, you do your R&D, even the supplier is manufacturing its parts or its supplies, which is dependent totally on the buyer industry, right? So that is what is collaborative CAM. So there are 4 stages of key accounts management. First is basic CAM, which is at the transactional level. Second is the collaboration increases and it's cooperative CAM. Third is interdependent CAM, and fourth is collaborative CAM, or you can say a kind of partnership CAM, right? That is important. Now, one more concept which is imperative to know is customer account profitability. Customer account profitability, how do suppliers calculate that whether the account is profitable or not? That is the total sales revenue generated from a customer or group of customers less all the costs that are incurred in servicing that customer or customer group, right? So that helps the suppliers to understand the customer is profitable or not, right? So this will also explain it. That is total value of the key account, total value of your customer. It depends on what? The customer lifetime value, how much value it is generating to you throughout the life, plus relationship benefits multiplied by the risk, right? The risk of the key account. Suppose something happens to, it's a very risky industry also. Something happens to your buyer, he is washed out, your plant will also be washed out. Even you will also perish because your 80% revenue was coming from them, right? So that is also, there is a huge amount of economic risk as well, right? So the total value of customers is the lifetime value of the key account plus the benefits of the relationship, right, into the economic risk. Yeah. This diagram is also will explain it further, that what is the customer lifetime value. We can understand it with this 2 by 2 matrix. You can see it is plotted against two variables, that is lifetime revenue and cost to serve, right? So where the lifetime revenue, the first quadrant, if you see, if the lifetime revenue is high and cost to serve is also high, these are demanding customers, right? For example, Apple. The suppliers of Apple must be finding them, of course, very demanding customers who are innovating themselves continuously, right? So the revenue is high, no doubt, but the cost to serve such a client is also high. So they are demanding customers. Other, if you see just below that, the lifetime revenue is high, but the cost to serve is low. These are the most profitable customers, right? For example, all these laptop and PC industry for Intel, they are very profitable customers for Intel because lifetime revenue is high and cost to serve is not that high as compared to others, right? The third, if you see, is lifetime revenue is low and cost to serve is high, right? So these are least profitable customers who are giving you no revenue, but the cost to serve them is so high. And finally, lifetime revenue is also low and cost to serve is also low, which are uncommitted customers, not required, right? So that concludes key accounts management. We have covered it very very briefly, otherwise you will study it in detail in third semester. So key accounts management means managing the supplier buyer relationship, and particularly for those customers who are your key accounts, key buyers, who are your key customers, who is bringing you maximum revenue. Basically, if you remember Pareto principles, that 20% of your customers are bringing almost 80% of the revenue. That is what is key accounts management. So that's it for this. Next, when we are meeting, we will be talking about rural marketing, viral marketing, and green marketing, and international marketing and other stuff, right? Thank you very much. Namaskar.